It's so good to be here again. The last time I was here, interestingly enough, was the last Sunday before everything shut down. It was March 16th or 15th. I remember that. Because it was the 13th was the last day that my son was in his daycare program. And we have been 24/7 caregivers since. And so that weekend, I understand and know, I remember exactly being in here and all the folks that was here and all of which, can I take that off? Okay, all right. I was trying to be like everybody else, but I know it sounds so funny to talk like this and things. But, you try to live in the protocol that comes on, that is here. A protocol that over the last 7 months has been difficult to get. Yeah, I know. Only 7 months feels like an eternity, doesn't it? But it's been difficult to kind of figure this stuff out. And just about the time, no mask, yes, go back. We need this, and all the different things that keep changing, the starts and the stops. Okay, we open it up. No, go back. Stay away from everybody again. All the different problems that we have. How many of you were like me? And when they first said, okay, we're going to shut down and things, we need everything, and we're going to do that to the 1st of April, and thought, okay, well, I can do 2 weeks, right? I can do 2 weeks. That, it's not easy, but everything. 7 months later. And we've had this stuff in and out and start and stop. Thought the summer would get back to normal. And it was normal for COVID-19, Oh, good. Look at all these people I can run around and jump around between. Shoo. It's been really, really difficult. We had an economic stimulus that was going to carry us through, right? And we will get to the end of this, and we will have a vaccine, and we will have all that we need, and we will get this done because we are capable. We are smart. We are together. We know what's going to happen here, right? Does anybody know what's going to happen? And oh my God, 2.5 weeks. We're 2.5 weeks away from an election, and who knows what's going to happen after that. And anybody that thinks they got a clue ain't. Thank you. Only God knows. I'm done. Thank you, Bill. We're benediction. It is a wilderness out there, isn't it? It is a wilderness in here. It is a wilderness in here. There's so much that is unknown. There's so much chaos going on. There's so much that just 7 months ago we were pretty certain about. And now there's no clue. We have been through the ringer. Everybody just wants to return to normal, right? But I got news for you. Yeah, what is that? There ain't no normal. Normal is out the door. Normal is gone. Normal is figuring out every day, one step at a time, trying to go through, trying to make my way. That's what's normal. That's what's normal, because everything has changed and it's going to continue to change very rapidly. And we are grieving what we have lost. And we don't like that because grief is hard. It's difficult. And it just feels so big and empty and open and unknown. How are we going to move forward? How are we going to walk every day and put this normal back together again, or come to understand what normal now is? That's a real deep, deep challenge. And we have to trust this process and trust this way through. And trust is something that has been the biggest casualty, especially these last 7 months. Moses and the Israelites find themselves in the wilderness. In the book of Exodus, in chapter 32, Moses has gone up to the mountain to go visit God, and he's been there a while. It has been a long while. It has been a long while. And the Israelites start saying, well, we need something normal. We need to get back. We need to figure out what's going on. So they make their golden calf. They gather everything up. They twist Aaron's arm and they get him to make this golden calf. And just as Moses is getting ready to come back down with these tablets, these beautiful tablets, God looks out and sees this craziness. What is going on? Look what your people are doing, God says to Moses, which I find rather interesting. But God and Moses look at this, and both of them are really irritated. And God is so miffed with the people that God is ready to snuff them out. God says in chapter 33, verse 4, if for a single moment I would go up among you, I would consume you. I think God's a little PO'd. God is a little irritated. They have abandoned God and trusting God and lost that sense of trust and faith. And God says, if I go among you, I am so mad, I'm just going to take my hand and just take you all out, wipe you all out. And Moses is like, wait a minute here. And Moses talks to God, points out, hey, wait a minute. They're your people. You called us out here. You don't want to do that because now then your name out there among everybody else is going to be mud. You don't think you want to do that. Bring some logic to the situation. And God goes, well, okay. I won't. But I'll walk with you, Moses. It's those people. I'm not. It's impossible. I can't do that. But there are consequences. Moses goes back down, breaks the tablets in front of them. There's a group of people, the Levites, who take the sword and kill the leaders of the folks that brought out this idolatry and brought out that distrust. There's consequences to pay. And among the whole people, there's fear and anxiety and death. Mistrust. And they are unsure of where they are going, and there is a lot of uncertainty and not clear how it is they're going to get there. And in the text that I chose for today, just after all of this has happened, in the book of Exodus, chapter 33, verses 17 through 23. And the Lord said to Moses, I will do the very thing that you have asked, for you have found favor in my sight, and I know you by name. Moses said, show me your glory, I pray. And God said, I will make all of my goodness pass before you and will proclaim before you the name the Lord, or as it's written elsewhere, Yahweh. And I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and I will show mercy on whom I will show mercy. But, God said, you cannot see my face, for no one shall see me and live. And the Lord continued, see, there is a place by me where you shall stand on the rock, and while my glory passes by, I will put you in the cleft of the rock, and I will cover you with my hand, and until I have passed by. Then I will take away my hand, and you shall see my back, but my face shall not be seen. God is ready to put those people away. Moses, having convinced God to repent, God repenting of what God wanted to do. Now Moses asked for one more thing. How do we move forward? Let me see your face. Let me know really fully who you are. Have you ever had a falling out with someone? If you're alive, the answer is yes. You know, someone whom you were close to, who, when they did that, it's like, wait a minute, I thought you were better than that. I cannot believe that you have done this. It's almost a betrayal, and maybe it is a betrayal. It's impossible to think that that would be in you to do that. Maybe it's a family member who supports another candidate. Maybe it's somebody who's borrowed money from you and told you that, well, I need it for food, or I need it for a doctor's appointment, or I need it for something else. And then you find out that they've used it for a trip to Vegas. Maybe they've returned to some people. They've gone back into a life that they had repented of, that they had changed from, that they had moved from, that you had shepherded them with and moved them out into a new place and given them a whole lot of hope for the future. And they've gone back, like Proverbs says, like a dog to its vomit. Doesn't make sense. How could they do that? You don't trust them. Maybe you don't like them, but you still care about them, and you know that you have to be in relationship with them. There ain't no going back from that. How do you move forward? How do you get out of that wilderness that just doesn't feel right? It's hard, it's uncomfortable, it's unclear how that relationship will be repaired and how you can move forward from this painful incident. I'm so grateful for Scripture. People that had wisdom to write down some really good ideas about living. Not back there, right here. And I'm so grateful that God is so good for showing us how to do some of this stuff. Because we are all in this together, in this time right now. And Moses and God have a relationship that can show us a way forward as we are living today and living these next days. Moses presses God. Back in verse 15. And he said to him, if your presence will not go, meaning go with us as we move forward. If your presence will not go, do not carry us up from here. If you're not going to go with us, we ain't going anywhere either. We're going to stay right here because we are in this together. You cannot just send us on and just go, well, good luck. This is all of us together. We have to move forward together or nobody can go forward safely. And that's where this text picks up. The Lord said to Moses, I will do the very thing that you have asked, for you have found favor in my sight, and I know you by name. Moses asked God for an assurance, some way of this ongoing relationship that will carry forward, that they will find some way to move forward because they have a loving commitment within that relationship. And Moses says, show me. Show me. Show me how you're going to do this. Show me who you are. And here God shows us three things. God acknowledges and defines the relationship that God and the people have. God defines God's very own self and expresses to Moses how to recognize it. And God points to a place of meeting and absolute assurance, a sanctuary. Well, first, God acknowledges to Moses about their relationship. As I read, the Lord said to Moses, I will do the very thing that you have asked. Okay, you've asked of me, and I will do this. For you have found favor in my sight, and I know you by name. To know someone by their name is to know and recognize them, to have a relationship, to claim that relationship, to know that there is a backstory to that relationship, to know that there is a presence now going on between the two of you, and to know that there is a future and something out in front in which you want to move. To know a name impacts a whole lot. Are you all sick of robocalls? 6, 7, 8, 10 a day. Oh, of course, yes. They start early in the morning and they run late at night. Oh, and these next 2.5 weeks are going to be difficult. Hello, may I speak with Galen Goben? I'm sorry, nobody by that name lives here. Oh, thank you very much. We must have the wrong number. Hello, is Louis Sloan there? My wife's name is Louise. No, don't think so. At least not this morning when I woke up. They don't know you. You are a name on a list. You are some kind of opportunity that I have, something that maybe I can reach out and get a hold of and possess, but I don't have a relationship with you, and I really don't care except for what you can give to me. That is not a relationship. That's a transaction. That is, you got it, I want it. Give it to me. And I'm going to use your name, maybe, if I can get it right. I guess I should thank my mother for blessing me with a difficult name. Thanks, Mom. But Moses and God know each other. And they know each other by first name. God even reiterates it. There's a history here between these two that they rely on in this incredibly difficult moment. A history that back earlier Moses talks about and touches on, but they don't need to necessarily because they know all of that. That history of the burning bush, that that history of Moses arguing with God. Not me, don't send me. I don't want to go. I ain't right. I'm not good. Oh, yes, you are. And you are because I say you are. You are good and you are capable because I am with you and I will be with you. And all of the things that occur in that relationship where God proves God's self over and over again. And they know this and they rely on this as the foundation and structure. They don't go to name calling. They don't belittle one another. They don't demean or dismiss. That's not a good relationship. That's not a helpful thing. A name is a sacred trust, and it holds the key that enters into that sacredness. Yahweh. And I will proclaim before you the name Yahweh. Which is the second thing that God does. God defines God's own self because God knows the divine nature and character. And he said, I will make all my goodness pass before you and will proclaim before you the name, the Lord, Yahweh. And I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and I will show mercy on whom I will show mercy. I love it that God says, I'm going to show you my goodness. And I will tell you again my name. Those two things become synonymous. And that's what's in a name? Yeah. The wholeness of who we are. Bill Meyer. Love it. He wears it on his chest. My goodness, my character, my being, I will put completely before you. And we know what that is. Psalm 136. The steadfast love of the Lord endures forever. God is steadfast to stay with us, to put up with us, to be with us. God goes on to say, I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and I will show mercy on whom I will show mercy. It is me. It is my decision. This is who I am. I will offer this to those whom I decide to do. You know, it's interesting here. There's nothing about God saying, hey, I'm the one that hung the planets. I'm the one that put the stars out there. There's nothing about power. There's nothing about majesty. There's nothing about crowns. There's nothing about thrones. There's nothing about bigness and look who I am. You need to pay attention to me. Ain't none of that. Sorry, my Southern's coming out. There isn't any of that. No, it is graciousness and mercy and goodness. Sometimes it's hard to know who to believe, isn't it, these days? That's that trust thing again. It's getting a little shaky out there. That fractured trust has destroyed many relationships and a lot of our social compacts these days. I'm old, and I long for Walter Cronkite, the most trusted man in America. That used to be his nickname. A newsman. Not today. There's nobody like that. Nobody that we trust. And it gets really hard to look at there and to believe and to trust who says what is right. It gets really, really difficult. Fred Rogers tells the story that when he was little and he would see something very difficult on the news or would hear something very, very difficult, and he would talk to his mom. What was it that his mom said about how to know what was right? Look for the helpers. Look for the helpers. The helpers are the people that call us out of the blue and offer us Starbucks. The goodness that is given and offered to us, the graciousness, the mercy. Jesus gives us similar direction in the Sermon on the Mount. The Gospel of Matthew, chapter 7, verses 15 to 20. He says, "Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves. You will know them by their fruits. Are grapes gathered from thorns, or figs from thistles? In the same way, every good tree bears good fruit, but the bad tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can a bad tree bear good fruit. You shall know them by their fruits." Goodness, mercy, compassion. And finally, what does God do? God, after relying on the relationship, after defining God's own self, after giving it out there to Moses, God then calls Moses and says, "Come here. I want you to stand here. I will do what you ask. I will show you myself in all of that. But I will put you here where you are safe, in the cleft of the rock. And as I come by, I will place my hand over your eyes until I pass by, when you will see my back." And there's some great, great wisdom in that, because what God is doing is calling us to a sanctuary. Calling us to a safe place, a place of refuge, a place to rest. Back in Exodus chapter 33, verses 21 and 22, "And the Lord continued, See, there is a place by me where you shall stand on the rock, and while my glory passes by, I will put you in a cleft of the rock, and I will cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Then I will take away my hand, and you shall see my back." Let me protect you, because I know this is too much. I know this is too difficult. I know this is too hard. I know this is not good for you. And I will put you in the cleft of the rock. And I will place my hand to cover your eyes. God calls us to a sanctuary, a cleft in the rock. This space is the place where God and we encounter one another on the deepest possible level. One to one, I and thou, as it's been called. It is the place that we must return to, for it is the place to which God calls us and the place in which God will shield us. It is the place in which God resides. And that place is right here, in your heart. That's the place where God lives. The night before Jesus' death, a disciple asked Jesus, "How is it that you will reveal yourself to me?" Same question. How will we know? Without knowing it for sure, Jesus is getting ready to go to his death. How will we know that we will be safe? How will we know what to do, where to go? How will we move forward? And Jesus says in John 14, beautiful, beautiful words, comforting words. Verse 23, And Jesus answered him, "Those who love me will keep my word, and my Father will love them, and we will come to them and make our home with them." Your heart is the home where God resides. Your heart is the place from which God oversees the universe. You have found favor with God. God, without printing it on the front, knows your name. There in your heart, you will find the presence, the glory of God, the goodness, the mercy, the graciousness. And there you will find rest. Rest that you need to pick up the pieces of this whacked out year and move forward. There's a lot of stuff that's going to need to be left behind. There's a lot of stuff that ain't worth carrying forward. There's a lot of stuff that is done and gone. But there's a lot of good stuff to carry forward. And after God passes by Moses, all that Moses gets to see is God's back. And what does Moses need to do? What do the people need to do? Follow the footprints. Because God is going forward for us, to guide us, to be with us, to comfort us on our journey. It's mid-October. This week I have seen my first Christmas advertising. I was watching Pioneer Woman this morning, and it was a Christmas show where they said Merry Christmas and Happy New Year at the end of the show. Oh, and we're hearing Christmas getting ready to start, aren't they? Oh, people want to get to the end of this year. I've already had somebody say to me, "Man, I can hardly wait till 2021 gets here." Why? Because it ain't going to be any different. There's my Southern again. We can turn the page. We can turn the calendar. But we're the one that mark it that way. Oh, my. There's only one way to move forward. Following the footprints. Living in our hearts with God. Looking for those who bring us goodness, offer graciousness and mercy and compassion. And understanding our relationship. The best relationship that we have. The one who you have found favor in God's sight. The one who knows you by name. That's how we move forward. Thanks be to God, and amen.
Hi, I'm Pastor Karen of Oasis of the Valley, and I'm here with Pastor Christine and Dr. John, and we'd like to share something with you. If you don't live in the local area and you'd like to be part of our Oasis Fellowship, we've got a way to connect.
We'd like to get to know you personally by video conference calls and telephone calls. And Dr. John will tell you more about how that came about.
It was just a few weeks ago. In literally 1 week's time, I got several emails from people in different parts of the United States and even overseas who are interested in finding a church in their area that's preaching the same powerful message that we are, and in the way we are, that's quite unique. And unfortunately, I couldn't give them really an answer. I know of a couple of churches and friends that are ministering like this, but honest, there's not too many. And we are truly trying to press forward into a whole new arena in God right now. And what wound up happening was that the thought occurred to me, well, We've got all this amazing technology. Why can't we pastor them with the video conferencing and stuff that you were talking about and minister into their life? And who knows what God will be able to do through that. With enough people, maybe be able to start a church out there.
Sounds good. So if you're interested, please click the link below and we'll explain more.